How to build a microtonal guitar. In this video, I'm going to show you how I built a microtonal guitar from start to finish from a cheap Fender Bullet Stratocaster. This is what the final product looks like. I documented the build from start to finish so I can show you each step exactly how I did it, and hopefully you can follow along. By the way, if you don't have the resources or the time to build a microtonal neck, you can feel free to reach out to Tyler Peterson, TP Guitars on Twitter. The link is down in the description. He helped me a lot with this build, and he helped me with this custom neck, which is actually a lot smoother than the one I built because he's an actual guitar technician and has the tools and experience to do one really well. The tools are very important for this build. Make sure to watch the entire video before going ahead and purchasing all of the items I put on this list. I have included all of the links for the items that I used in this video in the description below. Please click on them even if you don't have any intention on buying anything, because they're affiliate links. So any click that you do actually is a little bit beneficial for me and has the potential to help me make more videos like this one in the future. Obviously, you need a guitar neck. I didn't include that in this list. You need a fret saw. You need 2 sets of frets because you need 24 and some frets since you're refretting the entire guitar and adding 10 microtonal ones. You need a soldering iron to loosen the glue of the frets when you're taking them out. You need nippers, that's to cut the frets off when you're trimming them. Steel file, that's to trim the frets. A calipers, or you could also use a ruler. A flat spudger, I use that to pull the frets out. A screwdriver and a hammer. I didn't have these things, so I needed to buy them, but you might already have those. And then sandpaper. I actually use sandpaper taped to wood, but you could use this thing I found on Amazon for 20 bucks. Overall, this is a little over 100 bucks of tools if you have to buy everything, not including the guitar. Step 1, preparing the guitar. I removed the strings from the guitar. I removed the neck from the guitar. I took out the tuning keys so that the neck can lay flat on its own. The Fender Bullet neck sits perfectly straight once the tuning pegs are removed, but if your guitar neck doesn't sit straight, you might have to buy a neck support cradle. Step 2, removing the frets. I'm gonna put the soldering iron on the frets so that the frets heat up. It's gonna make the glue melt, and then I'll just be able to pull them out really easily. For this part, I use a flat spudger instead of pliers because the pliers didn't work to remove the frets. Although the soldering iron makes it easier to pull the frets out because it melts the glue, you can not use it. It just means that you'll have a higher chance of damaging the wood on your guitar because you're using a lot of force. Ta-da! Step 3, measurements. Since microtones are any tones smaller than half a tone, there are many different fretting combinations. For example, here you can see one, here you can see a different one. Here you can see a different one. For example, in this video, the guy talks about how this fret is on the 3/4 of his fret so that it matches a major scale.
In the first interval, instead of a whole tone, it's a 3/4 tone.
Since I was trying to recreate the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard songs, I wanted to have that fretting, which conveniently is the easiest to set up. The frets are placed in the middle of specific frets to create what would be quarter tones. To do that, I used the ruler or calipers to measure the frets that I needed to cut. I did not keep a record of the actual measurements, but this is how I did it. I measured the distance of the frets and I divided those numbers by 2. For example, this fret is 3.5 centimeters, so half of that is 1.75 centimeters. To draw those points on the neck, I used the calipers to make 2 points on the neck to form a straight line. You can also use a compass here to make sure the line is perfectly centered. Let me know in the comments below if you have a better way of doing this, as I am not a guitar technician. Once you have penciled out all of the lines on the neck of the guitar, you're ready to cut. The frets that you need to cut for the Gizzard Saz are the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 14th, the 16th, the 17th, the 19th, and the 21. On the Flying Banana, it looks like only the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, and the 11th are cut, but they didn't go above the 11th. However, on the Eastwood High Flower microtonal guitar, you can see that the microtones go all the way up to the top of the neck. So I recreated that here. Step 4, cutting the frets. I watched a couple videos on YouTube that said you needed to make a fret cutting jig to keep the fret cutting straight. Although I made one, it didn't work very well, so I just cut them manually. As long as you make sure that you're cutting straight, for example using a right angle ruler, it works fine. Cut to the depth of the fret. You can do that by looking at the depth of the other frets that were already there. Step 5, putting the new frets. This process is really simple. You just place the frets in the middle of the guitar and hit them down with a hammer. You could also use fret glue. I didn't in this case because the fret hole was small enough, but depending on what guitar neck and guitar frets you got, you might need to do this. After that, I used the nippers to cut the edges of the frets and the file to trim away the parts that were sticking out of the neck. Step 6, leveling the frets. I followed a YouTube tutorial that said you needed to put tape on the guitar to avoid scratching the wood. I then marked all of the frets with a Sharpie so that I could see if there were parts of the frets that I was missing when I was trimming it with the sandpaper. If you don't have a sandpaper holder like me, you can make one on your own really easily. You just need a flat block of wood. You then use double-sided tape and you can stick pieces of sandpaper onto it. You then level the frets down until you feel absolutely no resistance or bumps. I then used it on the side to smooth out the edges so that I don't bump my hands on any frets while I'm playing it. I had not done a great job at leveling the sides with the nippers or the file, so I actually used 3 sheets of sandpaper on this part. Step 7, reassembling the guitar. At this point, I bolted the neck back onto the guitar, I restrung it. You might have to raise the bridge with an Allen key so the strings are adjusted to the new heights of the frets. Step 8, play the guitar. Try out all the frets and see if there's any buzzing. If there is, you might have to do some more leveling, or alternatively, you can also just buy a neck from TP Guitars. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you managed to do this with my tutorial, or if you just ordered one off TP Guitars, or if you have any recommendations on how to do this better. I am by no means a professional. This was the first time I actually did work on a guitar. It took me a while because I didn't have the right tools, which is really important clearly for this build. If you want to support me more, please donate to my Venmo. The name is in the description and it really helps. I have included all of the links for the items that I used in this video in the description below. Please click on them even if you don't have any intention on buying anything, because they're affiliate links. So any click that you do actually is a little bit beneficial for me and has the potential to help me make more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.